Marge with us in our heart of hearts eternally. When they lived, they could be had for cheer or for comfort only in this hour or in that. But dead, they live in every conscious thought and act of us, the living, who hold them in loving memory. We've gathered this morning holding Marge in loving memory and holding her family with compassion and care. It's our custom to share our memories and our thoughts with one another, to grieve and to celebrate and to remember in a community. And we begin this morning with Julianne McAdam, Marge's daughter.
My mother was a remarkable woman, not so much for grand achievements, but just for the way she embraced life. She relished experiences big and small, and she smiled at all of them. She loved adventure, which is why she pushed my father and then Truman to travel, often to exotic places. But she also cherished the small, mundane pleasures of daily life: food, music, friends and family, reading, and of course, a good martini. I am grateful to my mother for many things. I am grateful for the unconditional love and support she always gave to my sister and me. I am grateful for the way she gracefully let our relationship grow from mother and child to adult friends. I am grateful for her model of smiling at life, smiling at people, and being gracious. She modeled this all her life, encouraging me to be gracious, and eventually I got the message and discovered that this was indeed the best approach. I am grateful to her for giving me a strong sense of what is right and good and just. I am grateful that she lived so long and that her great-grandchildren had the opportunity to really know her. And I am grateful that for so many years, and especially in her last few weeks, I was able to spend time with her to let her know how very much I loved her. 2 weeks before she died, she was still able to give me her wrinkled nose smile to let me know that things were good. When my family visited at Easter, Mother was still able to go out to dinner, and we enjoyed a lovely weekend. Then it was time to leave, and everyone was packed into the cars. Suddenly, Faith, my 4-year-old granddaughter, jumped out of the car and went back to the house. She said she had to give Great-Grandma another hug goodbye. I'm grateful, too, that I could give her another hug goodbye. My parents had 2 daughters. I was born first. Then 20 months later, my sister Karen arrived. Karen and my mother were always very close. At one point, we thought of them as soulmates. For most of her adult life, Karen has lived in other states, so they kept in touch by phone. Over the past 12 years, a somewhat mysterious and very debilitating illness has taken away most of my sister's mobility, and she is unable to be with us here today. She is with us in spirit, and she sent some thoughts for me to share. Tribute to Mother by Karen Elaine Foote, a loving daughter. My mother was my best friend. We did really fun things together. We did things together that we wouldn't do at other times with other people. When she stayed in Arizona after Daddy went home, we went out to dinner at a very savory restaurant in a very unsavory part of town. She said our husbands would have fits. And she was right. We went on long walks at 10 at night when ordinarily we'd have been in bed. One night in Riverside many years ago, Mother, her sister, and I tied plastic bags on our hips and did the hula for hours. It was hysterical. Mother embraced motherhood. All through our lives, she gave us the very best. She was a teacher, guidance counselor, coach, and mentor. She plunged into Girl Scouts, traveling to San Bernardino for leader training. She chauffeured us to swimming lessons, and when we switched to synchronized swimming, she helped with music and costumes. When we switched again to competitive swimming, she was coach and cheerleader. When other kids were eating peanut butter sandwiches, she was serving us eggs goldenrod and carrot raisin salad. On the occasional evening when she and Daddy were going out, she would prepare Spam, yes, Spam, scored on top, spiked with cloves. Très classy. She adored her grandchildren and great-grandchildren and loved entertaining them until as recently as Easter. She introduced her great-grandchildren to the joys of a Jane Fonda treadmill. I have often said that Mother was incredibly vain, but only in the best way. She always looked good doing anything from hiking to dancing. Once, after I met my husband Tim, she and Daddy came to San Anselmo for a visit. Some guys in our apartment building had seen Tim talking to her and asked him, "Who's the fox?" When he told her about it later, she was tickled. I think my favorite vanity story is from Michigan. My parents were visiting and we took them on a canoe trip. It was early in the year and there was ice along the banks of the river and downed trees. Things had been going quite well, and then Daddy ran their canoe into a log, capsizing it. Daddy came up drenched, while Mother landed on her feet with her hair dry and perfect and her purse held high. I gave her my dry long pants. I had shorts on underneath, and Daddy stood over a small fire that Tim had built and tried to dry out and warm up. I hate to laugh at his misfortune, but it was hilarious. All I can say is that she was a wonderful person, friend, mother, wife, lover. We will all miss her tremendously, and I think we can agree that the world is better for having had her in it. The last thing we said to each other on the phone was, "I love you." What more can one say?